Listen, I'm going to tell you something most people don't want to hear. Laziness is a disease, and if you don't kill it, it will kill your future. Laziness is sneaky. It doesn't show up as a monster in the night. No, it disguises itself as comfort, as I'll do it tomorrow, as just 5 more minutes, and every time you give in, it takes another piece of your future. Think about this. Every successful person you admire, every champion, every game changer, they all had the same temptation you do. The temptation to sleep in, to take it easy, to do the bare minimum. But the difference? They killed laziness before it could kill them. Laziness is the silent assassin. It doesn't show up with a warning. It doesn't announce itself with alarms or flashing lights. It sneaks in, unnoticed, disguised as comfort, as temporary rest, as an innocent break. It whispers in your ear, telling you that you deserve a little more time to relax, that one more episode won't hurt, that you can start tomorrow, and before you know it, tomorrow turns into next week turns into next month, and next month turns into a lifetime of regret. The real danger of laziness isn't just in the lost time. It's in the identity it builds inside you. Every time you choose to stay in bed when you should get up, every time you delay something that matters, every time you let yourself off the hook, you are programming yourself to accept less than what you're capable of. One missed opportunity. But these moments stack up and they become habits. And those habits become who you are. People don't fail because they lack talent or intelligence. They fail because they let small decisions pile up until they create a wall too high to climb. Laziness is an expert at making you feel like everything is fine, like you're not really losing anything, like you'll have another chance later. But that's the lie. You don't get endless chances. You don't get time back. Once a moment is gone, it's gone forever. And what you do in each of those moments is either building your future or destroying it. Think about all the dreams that never happened, not because people weren't capable, but because they kept putting them off. The book that was never written, the business that was never started, the body that was never built, the skill that was never mastered. None of those failures happened overnight. They happened in tiny, almost invisible choices, one skipped action at a time. Laziness will try to convince you that you can still get where you want to go while taking it easy, that you can be successful without pushing yourself, that you can stay comfortable and still win. But every single person who has achieved anything great will tell you otherwise. Success demands effort. It demands discomfort. It demands that you fight the urge to settle, that you reject the easy path, that you choose action even when you don't feel like it. And the scariest part? Laziness doesn't just kill dreams, it kills confidence. When you let yourself off the hook too many times, you start to believe that's who you are. You stop trusting yourself. You stop believing that you're capable of discipline, of resilience, of doing the hard things. And that loss of self-belief is what truly destroys people, because once you no longer believe in yourself, you stop trying. And once you stop trying, you're finished. There are people out there who are not as smart as you, not as talented as you, not as naturally gifted as you, but they are winning because they show up, they do the work. They refuse to let laziness steal their future. And while they are grinding, pushing, and building, others are making excuses, waiting for the right time, convincing themselves that they'll start someday. The truth is, someday doesn't exist. There is only now. You have a choice right now in this moment. You can let laziness win, you can let it steal your potential, rob you of your goals, and leave you with a lifetime of regret. Or you can take control. You can recognize that laziness is not your friend, that comfort is a trap, that the only way to get what you truly want is to fight for it. You don't need to feel motivated. You don't need to wait for the perfect conditions. You just need to decide. Decide that your future matters more than your temporary comfort. Decide that you will not let another day slip by. Decide that you will not be one of those people who look back and wish they had done more, because at the end of the day, laziness is a choice, and so is greatness. Discipline is the antidote. It's what separates those who achieve their goals from those who only dream about them. It's the one thing that keeps you moving forward when motivation disappears, when excitement fades, and when the work gets tough. Discipline is not about how you feel in the moment. It's about what you commit to doing no matter what. It's the difference between showing up and making excuses, between getting results and staying stuck. Most people rely on motivation, but motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. One day you feel inspired, ready to take on the world, determined to change your life. And the next, you wake up tired, unmotivated, and suddenly all those big plans don't seem so urgent. That's where most people quit. They wait for the feeling to return, for the perfect moment, for inspiration to strike again. But that moment never comes. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and nothing changes. Discipline, on the other hand, doesn't care how you feel. It doesn't care if you're tired, if you don't feel like it, if the conditions aren't perfect. Discipline is about making a decision once and sticking to it every single day. It's about doing what needs to be done even when you don't want to. Especially when you don't want to. Because those are the moments that build character. Those are the moments that separate the best from the rest. The reason most people fail isn't because they aren't capable, it's because they give themselves too many options. They treat their goals like suggestions instead of commitments. They let their emotions decide their actions instead of their decisions. But discipline means making a non-negotiable choice. It means saying, this is what I do no matter what. No more debating, no more second guessing, no more waiting for the right time, just action, consistent, disciplined action. Think about the people who are at the top of their game, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the leaders. They don't rely on feeling good to do the work. They train when they don't want to. They show up when no one is watching. They push themselves when it would be easier to quit. That's the secret. Not talent, not luck, not waiting for motivation, just relentless, unshakable discipline. The key to discipline is setting a standard for yourself that you refuse to break. You don't have to be extreme. You don't have to go from 0 to 100 overnight, but you do have to be consistent. Small daily habits done with discipline will take you further than bursts of motivation ever will. If you decide to wake up early, wake up early. If you commit to working out, work out. If you say you'll read, learn, improve, then do it. No excuses, no compromises. Because every time you break a promise to yourself, you weaken your own self-belief. And every time you keep a promise, you reinforce the identity of someone who follows through. Discipline is a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger the more you use it. The first few days will be hard. Your mind will fight you. It will beg you to take the easy way out. It will try to convince you that skipping today won't matter. But that's the test. That's the moment where you either build discipline or let it slip. If you push through even when it's uncomfortable, something shifts inside you. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe that you can rely on yourself. And that belief becomes unstoppable. The best part about discipline? It compounds. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. What once felt like a struggle turns into a habit. What once required effort becomes automatic, and soon you become the type of person who just does the hard things without thinking twice. You don't need to hype yourself up. You don't need to find inspiration. You just act. And that's when real change happens. There is no shortcut, no secret formula, no easy way out. The only way to break free from mediocrity, from inconsistency, from regret, is through discipline. It's the foundation of every success story, the common denominator of every winner. It's the single greatest tool you have to create the life you want. Your future is being written right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready, right now in this exact moment. Every decision you make, every action you take, every habit you reinforce is shaping the person you will become. Most people live as if they have unlimited time, as if they can afford to waste days, weeks, even years waiting for the right moment to start. But the truth is, your future isn't waiting for you. It's being created by what you do or don't do today. Every time you choose comfort over effort, you're deciding your future. Every time you put off that workout, that study session, that project, you're casting a vote for the kind of life you'll live. Success doesn't happen all at once. Neither does failure. It's a slow process, built one decision at a time. The person who shows up every day, who puts in the work even when they don't feel like it, is the one who will look back years from now and see the results. The person who keeps making excuses, who keeps waiting for motivation, who keeps procrastinating, will look back and see nothing but lost time. Most people don't realize they're making these choices in real time. They think skipping one day won't matter. They think they can make up for lost time later. But habits don't work that way. What you do consistently is what defines you. If you get used to pushing things off, that becomes your default response to everything. If you get used to showing up and taking action no matter what, that becomes who you are. It's not about grand gestures or huge breakthroughs. It's about the small, daily actions that compound over time. Think about the people who inspire you, the athletes, the entrepreneurs, the creators, the visionaries. They didn't wake up one day and suddenly become great. They built themselves through the choices they made when no one was watching. When others were sleeping in, they were up working. When others were relaxing, they were sharpening their skills. When others were making excuses, they were making progress. It's not that they had more opportunities or more talent, it's that they understood that their future was being created in the present. There is no magic moment when everything falls into place. No perfect time when it all suddenly makes sense. People waste years waiting for clarity, waiting for the right mindset, waiting for everything to feel easy before they start. But that moment never comes. The people who succeed are the ones who understand that action creates clarity, not the other way around. They don't wait until they feel ready. They start, and by starting, they become ready. Every time you hesitate, every time you delay, you're reinforcing the habit of inaction. And the more you delay, the harder it gets to start. The brain adapts to whatever you do most. If you constantly take action, you develop a bias for action. If you constantly procrastinate, you train yourself to avoid effort. The hardest part is the beginning, but once you start, momentum takes over. The key is to stop overthinking and start moving. The problem is most people don't connect their daily choices to their future results. They see each decision as separate, instead of part of a larger pattern. But the person who eats junk food every day doesn't suddenly wake up unhealthy. It happens gradually. The person who skips workouts doesn't suddenly feel weak. It's the result of repeated inaction. The person who wastes hours scrolling through their phone doesn't suddenly lose productivity. It happens in small, unnoticed moments over time. On the flip side, the person who commits to their goals doesn't see results immediately either. The first workout won't change their body. The first book won't make them an expert. The first disciplined decision won't transform their life. But over time, those small decisions add up, and when they look back, they realize that every small step was building something bigger. Most people overestimate what they can do in a day, but underestimate what they can do in a year. They expect instant results, and when they don't see them, they quit. But the future isn't built in a day. It's built in the consistency of showing up, of putting in the effort, of making the right choices, even when there's no immediate payoff. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't talent or luck. It's the ability to keep going when results aren't visible yet. Everything you do today is shaping your future self. The habits you build, the effort you put in, the discipline you develop, it's all creating the life you will live years from now. The question is, are you making choices that align with the future you want? Or are you letting laziness, distractions, and excuses decide for you? Take ownership, not excuses. This is the mindset shift that separates those who achieve from those who stay stuck. Most people don't fail because they aren't capable. They fail because they keep looking for something or someone else to blame. They point at circumstances, at their past, at their lack of resources, at the people around them, as if those things have the power to control their future. But the truth is, the moment you give an excuse, you hand over control. You let something outside of you dictate your results, and that is the fastest way to stay exactly where you are. Ownership means understanding that no one is coming to save you. No one is going to wake you up early in the morning and force you to put in the work. No one is going to push you to be great when you feel like quitting. That is on you. The sooner you accept that, the sooner you become unstoppable. Because as long as you believe the problem is outside of you, you'll keep waiting for something external to change before you take action. And that waiting will steal years from your life. Excuses feel good in the moment. They protect your ego. They make you feel like it's not your fault. But they don't change your reality. You can justify why you aren't where you want to be, or you can do something about it, but you can't do both. Every time you tell yourself, I don't have time, I don't have the right connections, I wasn't born into the right circumstances, you are reinforcing a belief that you are powerless. And once you start believing that, you stop trying. There are people who started with nothing and built success. There are people who had every reason to quit but kept going. The difference isn't that they were given some special advantage. The difference is that they refused to see themselves as victims. They refused to accept the idea that their circumstances would dictate their future. They took full ownership of their decisions, their actions, and their mindset. That's what it takes. Most people say they want success, but when things get tough, they start looking for ways to justify quitting. They blame the economy, their upbringing, their environment. But there are people who have succeeded despite those same challenges. What does that tell you? It tells you that the external world is not the deciding factor. It's the internal world. It's the mindset, the commitment, the refusal to make excuses. When you take ownership, you take your power back. You realize that no matter what happens, you are responsible for how you respond. You might not control everything that happens to you, but you always control your reaction, your effort, and your attitude. And that is everything. Because the truth is, challenges are coming whether you like it or not. Unexpected problems will happen. Life will throw obstacles in your path. But if you have already decided that no excuse is acceptable, then nothing can stop you. The people who rise to the top don't have fewer problems than everyone else. They just refuse to let those problems define them. They don't sit around waiting for perfect conditions. They don't waste time complaining about what's unfair. They adapt, they adjust, they figure it out. Because they understand that complaining doesn't get results, action does. One of the most dangerous things you can do is allow yourself to believe that your situation is different, that somehow your excuse is more valid than everyone else's, that other people have it easier, that if only things were different, you would be successful too. That kind of thinking keeps you stuck forever. Because as long as you believe that your success depends on something outside of you, you will never do what it takes to change your life. Taking ownership is not easy. It means admitting when you've been lazy. It means acknowledging where you've fallen short. It means accepting that if you aren't where you want to be, it's because of the choices you've made. But it also means that you have the power to change it. That's the part most people miss. Ownership isn't about beating yourself up. It's about recognizing that you have control. And once you fully accept that, everything changes. The people who achieve their goals don't do it because things were handed to them. They do it because they made a decision to stop waiting, a decision to stop blaming, a decision to stop making excuses. They took ownership of their time, their habits, their actions, and their mindset. They made success non-negotiable. And that is why they made it happen. Your mind is your greatest weapon or your worst enemy. Every single day, the battle isn't just in the work you do, the challenges you face, or the obstacles in your way. The real battle is in your head. It's in the thoughts you allow to take root, the beliefs you reinforce, and the mindset you choose to adopt. Most people don't lose because they aren't capable. They lose because they convince themselves that they've already lost before they even start. Your mind will always try to pull you toward comfort. It will tell you to take it easy, to slow down, to stay where it's safe. It will try to convince you that you're not ready, that you don't have what it takes, that you should wait for a better time. But if you listen to those thoughts, if you allow them to control your actions, you will stay stuck. You will watch opportunities pass you by, you will see other people achieve what you want, and you will wonder why you never got there. The truth, it's because you never won the battle in your own head. The most successful people in the world didn't start with unshakable confidence. They built it. They conditioned their minds to work for them instead of against them. They refused to let fear dictate their actions. They trained themselves to push forward even when doubt crept in. They learn to control their thoughts instead of letting their thoughts control them. That is the key. Because if you don't take control of your mind, it will control you. You have to stop feeding the thoughts that weaken you. Every time you say, I can't do this, you reinforce it. Every time you think, I'm not good enough, you make it more real. Your brain believes what you tell it repeatedly. If you keep telling yourself you're tired, you'll feel more tired. If you keep telling yourself you're not capable, you'll stop trying. But if you tell yourself, I can handle this, I figure things out, I refuse to quit, you start to reshape the way your mind works. Your beliefs shape your reality. If you believe you are meant for more, you will find a way to rise. If you believe you are stuck, you won't even try. And the craziest part? Both beliefs can be true depending on what you choose to act on. Your mind will create whatever outcome you consistently focus on. That's why some people succeed despite the odds, while others fail despite having every advantage. It's not just about skill or resources, it's about mindset. Most people wait to feel confident before they take action. But confidence doesn't come before action. Action creates confidence. You have to start before you feel ready. You have to push forward even when your mind is screaming at you to stop. You have to show yourself that you are capable, that you can do hard things, that you can push past discomfort and fear. And the more you do that, the stronger you become. The difference between those who win and those who don't isn't that the winners never have doubts. It's that they don't let their doubts control them. They hear the negative voice in their head, but they don't obey it. They feel the fear, but they take action anyway. They understand that their mind will try to sabotage them, that they refuse to let it win. Training your mind is like training your body. You wouldn't expect to be strong if you never lifted weights. You wouldn't expect to be fast if you never ran. The same goes for mental strength. You have to train it every day. You have to challenge yourself, step outside your comfort zone, force yourself to do the hard things. And every time you push through, you get stronger. You must learn to talk to yourself, not just listen to yourself. Your mind will always produce thoughts, some empowering, some destructive. If you passively accept every thought that enters your head, you'll be at the mercy of whatever emotions and fears arise. But if you actively take control and redirect your thinking, you change everything. Instead of listening to the voice that says, I'm not ready, tell yourself, I will figure it out. Instead of, this is too hard, tell yourself, I am built for this. Instead of, what if I fail? Tell yourself, what if I succeed? It's not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing what thoughts you reinforce. The thoughts you repeat are the thoughts that become your reality. And if you let your mind run on autopilot, if you allow negativity and doubt to take over, you will sabotage yourself before you even get started. But if you take control, if you train yourself to think differently, if you refuse to entertain weakness, your mind becomes the most powerful weapon you have. Everything starts in your head. Your success, your failure, your growth, your stagnation, it all begins with what you allow yourself to believe. If you win the battle in your mind, you can win anywhere. Discipline is the bridge between where you are now and where you want to be. It's the difference between those who achieve and those who stay stuck. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not waiting for the right moment or the perfect conditions. It's the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. The problem is, most people rely on motivation, and that's why they fail. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. Some days you wake up feeling inspired, ready to take on the world. Other days you feel tired, unmotivated, and full of excuses. If your success depends on how motivated you feel, you will never be consistent enough to make real progress. Discipline is what keeps you moving forward when motivation disappears. It's what separates those who see results from those who keep starting over. It's waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It's going to the gym when you don't feel like working out. It's showing up and putting in the work day after day, no matter how you feel. The people who succeed are not the ones who always feel like working. They're the ones who do it anyway. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's about restriction, about forcing yourself to suffer. But real discipline is freedom. When you are disciplined, you are in control. You don't let your emotions dictate your actions. You don't let distractions pull you off course. You don't let temporary feelings determine your long-term success. You decide what needs to be done, and you do it. That is power. That is what gives you the ability to shape your life instead of being at the mercy of whatever mood you're in. Every time you act based on feelings instead of commitments, you reinforce weakness. Every time you give in to laziness, you make it easier to do it again tomorrow. But every time you choose discipline, you reinforce strength. You build momentum. You make it easier to keep going. The hardest part is always the beginning. Once you develop the habit of discipline, it stops feeling like a struggle. It becomes who you are. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you build. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. The first time you push through discomfort, it's hard. The first time you wake up early instead of hitting snooze, it's painful. The first time you stick to your plan instead of making excuses, it takes effort. But every time you do it, you get stronger. You prove to yourself that you can control your actions, that you are in charge of your mind and body, not the other way around. Most people never reach their potential because they quit when things get hard. They start a new habit, a new goal, a new routine, and the moment they feel resistance, they stop. They convince themselves they'll start again later, but later never comes. The people who succeed are not the ones who have it easy. They are the ones who keep going even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because they understand that the struggle is part of the process. Discipline is built in the moments when you don't want to do the work, when your body is tired, when your mind is telling you to take a break, when you feel like quitting. Those are the moments that define you. Because if you can push through those moments, you can push through anything. You don't need to feel ready. You don't need perfect conditions. You need a decision. A decision that says, I will not negotiate with laziness. I will not let my feelings dictate my actions. I will do what needs to be done. That's the mindset that changes everything. Every time you act with discipline, you build trust with yourself. You prove to yourself that you follow through. You stop being the person who makes promises and breaks them. You stop saying you'll start tomorrow. You become the person who does what they say they're going to do. And that kind of self-trust is what creates unstoppable confidence. Because when you know you can count on yourself, nothing can shake you. Success is not about doing what's easy, it's about doing what's necessary. Most people let their emotions control them. They only work when they feel like it. They only push forward when it's convenient. That's why most people never achieve what they're capable of. Because success doesn't care about how you feel. It only cares about what you do. There will always be reasons to quit. There will always be excuses available. There will always be days when you don't feel like it. But discipline is about making the decision once and sticking to it, no matter what. It's about committing to your goals and refusing to break that commitment. It's about proving to yourself every single day that you are stronger than your excuses. Laziness is not just a bad habit, it's a slow poison that kills potential dreams and opportunities. It sneaks up in moments of comfort, in small decisions to delay, in excuses that seem harmless but compound over time. And before you know it, you've wasted years waiting, hesitating, and settling for less than you're capable of. If you don't kill your laziness, it will kill your future. It will rob you of the life you could have built, the person you could have become, and the success that was within your reach. The time to act is now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Now. Because every day you delay is another day wasted. The people who achieve don't have more time than you. They don't have fewer challenges, they just refuse to let laziness win. They take ownership. They control their mindset. They build unshakable discipline. And that's why they rise while others stay stuck. Make the decision today to stop negotiating with excuses. To stop giving in to weakness. To stop letting comfort steal your greatness. Because at the end of the day, you have two choices. Either you master your habits or your habits master you. Either you take control of your future or your future is controlled by regret. Either you kill your laziness or it kills everything you could have been.